Welcome to Open House with Gerry Cornejo, where we feature people, places, and things that are in the news or who should be in the news. And this program, by the way, and GNN is airing nationwide and in 7 Asian countries via cable TV. We are on Channel 8 of Global Destiny, 213 in Sky. In GSAT, we're Channel 1, and if you don't have streaming, if you don't have cable or satellite, you can watch this streaming on gnntv-asia.com. Okay, so we should have had this program, yung EDSA, yung anniversary ng EDSA Revolution, because when you say EDSA Revolution, there's an institution that goes hand in hand with the EDSA Revolution. As a matter of fact, the first act that Cory did was to create this institution. And we're talking about the PCGG. And we have with us the current PCGG chairman, si Attorney Andy Bautista. Sir, welcome again. He reminded me, third time nyo na pala ito rito. Well, by that time, I mean, because every time na mag-usap tayo, I mean, more and more things are happening. You have been recovering more things. And this time, kung I think umabot na sa billion yata since last year, basta I know it's in the hundreds of millions. Okay, now Chairman Andy Bautista, ano ba, let's go briefly into the mandate of the PCGG. Anong tawag doon sa term na yon? So there was this revolutionary government of President Cory Aquino. What did she do? She created, she promulgated. How did she, anong ginawa niya na nagkaroon ng PCGG?
Right, okay. Well, Gerry, first of all, thank you for having me back.
Thank you.
So PCGG, Presidential Commission on Good Government, was created on February 28, 1986.
Okay.
And this was 3 days after the ouster of then President Ferdinand Marcos when he left for Hawaii. So at that time, President Cory Aquino did away with the 1973 Constitution and promulgated the Freedom Constitution. And pursuant to both executive and legislative powers, she created the PCGG in Executive Order number 1. No?
Number 1.
That's right. Oh, so 3 days after EDSA, we were the first agency created. We even antedate the 1987 Constitution.
Yes.
We can make the claim that we are the oldest agency post-EDSA.
Okay.
So we have 3 main mandates, the first one of which is to recover the ill-gotten wealth of former President Marcos, his family, his relatives, his associates, and his cronies.
Okay.
Number 2, we can also be tasked by the President to investigate other forms of graft and corruption that may occur.
May occur.
That's right. Post-EDSA.
Post-EDSA. So up to now?
Up to the current, we still can be tasked by the President to do that, but I will get back to that point later. No?
Okay.
And the third mandate is that we are supposed to recommend measures so that these cases of graft and corruption will not recur in the future. So this was in 1986. In respect of the third mandate, it would seem that we have failed, only because graft and corruption continues to proliferate in our society, particularly prior to the administration of President Benigno Aquino. No?
Okay.
Now, just going back to the second mandate of investigating other cases of graft and corruption, what happened, though, is the 1987 Constitution was passed in February 2 of 87. So, in the 1987 Constitution, a new office called the Office of the Ombudsman was created.
Okay.
And the Office of the Ombudsman is the primary agency in government that is tasked to investigate cases of graft and corruption.
Okay.
So kumbaga, ang PCGG naging specialized.
Okay.
That we're really focused on trying to recover ill-gotten wealth prior to 1986. After 1986, that will already be in the territory of the Office of the Ombudsman.
Okay. Now, ang unang, the first PCGG chairman was Senator Salonga.
That's correct.
Ikailan po ba kayo? I mean, you are...
I am number 13.
Number 13. Lucky 13.
Lucky 13.
Okay.
And I also assumed office on the 13th.
Okay. Now, Just curious, I mean, what were you doing? I know you were Dean of the Law School of FEU, tama ba?
That's correct.
Okay, and well, you used to come out in media prior to your appointment because you were a resource person by media and even mga NGOs when it came to issues involving political matters, di ba?
Well, more constitutional law. Because
Constitutional.
that's what I teach.
Okay.
And also that's why when I took my master's abroad, I focused on constitutional law.
Now, how did you become PCGG chairman? Of course, you were appointed by the president.
Right.
And how did that happen? I mean, out of the blue ba ito? Na broadside ka?
Hindi naman. When President Aquino was elected, or well, even before that, I had volunteered myself. So in case he needed somebody to help out in government, I am a firm believer in his straight path policy. I really think that he walks the talk and that he leads by example. So I felt that it was time for me to also contribute or to help out in respect of trying to bring back decency in our government. Well, Gerry, before, this is my first time in government. After I graduated from law school, I had the good fortune of having worked abroad with 2 international law firms, in both in New York and in Hong Kong. But then I had I wanted to come back and I wanted to help out. Now, when I raised my hand to volunteer, though, I did not specifically ask for PCGG.
Okay.
But that was the agency that was offered to me. And, well, at that time, I saw it as a challenge. And I've been with the agency now for more than 3 years.
Okay. Now, ano ba ito? Is your position, does it have, do you have a tenure or coterminus with the president? Ano ba ito? How does it work?
No tenure.
Okay.
I only serve as long as the president wants me to be there, which is also what I want.
Yes.
I think that, in fact, most government positions should be like that, that we should only be there if the appointing power continues to believe in us, that if they no longer have trust and confidence in our capability or in our integrity, then he or she should be given the opportunity to take us out.
Okay. Nag-umpisa kayo 1986. Well, the institution, PCGG. It's now 2014. So that's, 28 years?
28 years.
28 years. Ngayon, in your opinion, has the PCGG been effective in its mandate? Nagagawa ba ng PCGG yung tungkulin ng, the mandate of the PCGG to recover the ill-gotten wealth, to recommend measures, investigating other cases, hindi bali na muna yun. I mean, because right now, the concentration is with Marcos, the Marcos families, kasama ng mga Romualdez dyan, plus the cronies. Now, you've had, you and your predecessors have had their hands full just with them. So I don't think you need any other investigation. No? Ngayon, in your opinion, how successful has the PCGG been since 1986 to the present?
Well, Gerry, dito, I've always compared PCGG, to the life of any human being, which has had its shares, of ups and downs, of good times and bad. As you said, we're already 28 years. People have asked me, how would I assess the performance of PCGG? I think in the end, though, the numbers and the milestones that it reached should speak for itself. And I can tell you the facts that since 1986, the PCGG has been able to recover 167.5 billion pesos.
Okay.
And how much have we spent? We've spent about 2 to 3 billion pesos. So from a pure return on investment or return on equity, ROI perspective, I think it's been worth the investment that had been made.
1 to 80.
Not bad. Well, baka yeah. So, but on the other hand, people say that there have been allegations that some of those who have been appointed to PCGG have also misused their office and have also amassed
Yes.
some public funds. I think there is truth to that, to
Of
be
course.
honest. Though.
Yes, oh.
But as I said, I think we have to look at it from a bigger picture. And just like any life or even any government agency for that matter, I think that it again depends on the people who are in that agency. And kami, as I said, what's great about our current administration is that we have a leader who is leading by example. And I can say without batting an eyelash that really I think that corruption has been minimized during the leadership of President Aquino.
Oh, without the doubt, nangyari talaga yan. At nangyayari pa. And very soon, what month is it now? April. Very soon, by May, I had another lawyer here as a guest. And sabi niya, walang kaduda-duda na the 3 senators who have been charged with plunder, may issuehan daw ng warrant of arrest. Do you share the same as a lawyer?
I would think so. Although alam mo naman sa atin kasi, and in fact, this is one of the challenges that the PCGG has faced over its 28 years, that parang our justice system really needs also a lot of reform.
Okay.
That in fact, we have still over 250 cases that are pending in various courts.
PCGG?
PCGG.
Okay.
And I would say that most of the cases are over 20 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Walang bago during your watch?
Yeah. Now, wala naman na kaming
wala na kayong
na-file na bago.
Okay.
No?
Okay.
So we're just basically nursing the cases
Right.
that are pending. But up to now, walang galaw eh.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. I mean, among your predecessors, from the chairman down, meron na ba na kasuhan dyan ng corruption or ill-gotten wealth or has any of your predecessors?
Well, yung aking
PCGG,
immediate predecessor, nakasuhan siya because he got money that was supposed to have been remitted back to the government. So we did file a case against him sa ombudsman, and the ombudsman filed an information. It's now pending in the Sandigan Bayan.
So he's the only one. Who is this, by the way? I'm sure you can mention the name.
Camilo Sabio.
Okay. Now, prior to him, of course, lahat yan napapakinggan natin. Ano? I mean, of course, as we were talking before the program, karamihan ito kwentong barbero. Hindi ba? Parang usap-usapan. I mean, but then, ang dami sa mga predecessors mo ay ikaw wala so far, kahit mga barbero walang sinasabi about you. Pero yung mga
wood,
pero yung mga your predecessors, I mean, and some of them have really big sounding names that belong in our history books. Pati sila daw at yung mga kamag-anak nila nakisawsaw sa either horse trading, hindi ba? Either merong 100 million dyan, keep the 50, give us back the 50, pero may hati siya dyan. Parang gano'n nangyari. So, in effect, parang hindi naman niya talaga, it wasn't really plunder, but it was really bending the law. Hindi ba? So much that it looks so criminal already. Tama ba? I mean,
well, ako naman, Gerry, again, and I'm not trying to, pinagtatakpan ko yung aking mga predecessors, no? Pero kasi din, ang nakikita kong problema dito sa aming posisyon or sa mga posisyon sa pamahalaan, madaling magbatikos. And it's really very easy to, make allegations.
Okay.
Even if, yung proof naman is not there, no? Na sometimes talaga, it's also, you have to make difficult decisions. But having said that, as I said now, having reviewed the operations of PCGG over the last 28 years, it's quite obvious that there were certain transactions that were entered into which are, question mark.
Big question mark. Babalikan natin yan, ha? By the way, our guest is PCGG Chairman, Attorney Andy Bautista. We just talked about the mandate of the PCGG and we're going to move forward. Later on, tingnan natin ang report card ng PCGG under Chairman Andy Bautista and of course under President Noynoy Aquino. Open House with Gerry Cornejo. We'll be back right after this. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Open House with Gerry Cornejo, where we feature people, places, and things that are in the news or who should be in the news. Right now, we're talking about the state of the PCGG, which started in February 28, 1986. It's now April 2014, after 28 years. And we have with us the 13th chairman, Attorney Andy Bautista. Earlier, we talked about the mandate, how we got involved with the PCGG, and now we're going to dig deeper into what has been happening, what has happened, and what could happen in the future. Ngayon, we ended up with the first segment saying that there were really questionable events no, that happened with your predecessor. Sa iyo ba, hindi ka pa nababatikos ng, wala ka pang inaano so far? Hindi ka pa inaano ng media or anybody? Wala pa?
Well, knock on wood, Gerry.
Oh, good. Wonderful.
Pero, well, usually naman, yung mga batikos also happens after.
Okay.
But, you know, again, and that's one of the things that we try to do under the current commission is that we try to be transparent and accountable in the way we do things. So, for example, we try to maintain a website which is up to date. Every year, meron kaming annual report. You know, we try to run PCGG like a private corporation, where in the end, you know, our shareholders are the Filipino people. And to us, it is our responsibility to be accountable. You know, tell them, kumbaga, what we've done in a particular year. Because, again, we've been entrusted with public money. We should let them know what we've done with that money.
Okay. Now, Chairman Bautista, the last time we had you in our program, you talked about, in glowing terms, about the people that you handpicked to be with you. Ang mga talagang legal experts, mga Mr. Clean and Miss Clean, you know, hindi lang malinis ang reputation nila, but they also excelled in their particular field. Is it the same? Do you still have the same team, or meron na nawala, meron na dagdag?
Meron na ring nawala.
Okay.
Meron na ring nawala. One is, for example, si Commissioner Gerard Mosquera.
Okay.
Okay, he left the PCGG to assume the position of Deputy Ombudsman for Luzon.
Okay.
Sa Office of the Ombudsman, which is great. I
Okay.
think, to me, as I said, I don't mind din naman, kumbaga, I think it's also good that people move up and kumbaga go to agencies that, for example, the Office of the Ombudsman is a constitutional office. You know, there is a fixed term. So we're more than willing to sort of like share people to other agencies. No? Another commissioner, Commissioner Nelson Acebo, unfortunately, we lost to the private sector.
Okay.
And, well, he has a new family. He said that he needed to, kumbaga, earn better. And so he's now moved on to the private sector. But by and large, as I said, I think the strength of any institution also, you know, it cannot be too much people dependent, meaning that even if people come and go, that the work has to continue. And
Okay.
you have to sort of like make sure that the momentum sort of like kept alive. No? So we look at our track record, and as I said, since we try to run this institution like the private sector. So for example, in 2011, our budget was 93 million pesos. And again, Gerry here, no, when I say 93, before the PDAF allocation of one senator was, I think, 200 million.
Per a year?
A year for one senator. We're an agency of about 200 people, and our budget is one half that of one senator's PDAF.
Okay.
So in 2011, we had a 93 million budget. We were able to remit back 268 million. So
Okay.
kahit na paano, 1:3. Okay.
Ah.
In 2012, our budget was 96. We were able to give back 567.
Okay.
Okay, so, and that does not count the San Miguel preferred shares, we were able to remit back to the government of 56.5 billion pesos.
Okay.
So that is why in 2012 we were awarded as the best performing agency under the Department of Justice. There are 13 attached agencies and offices with the DOJ.
So attached pala kayo sa DOJ?
DOJ.
Okay.
Well, for administrative purposes.
Okay. Pero doesn't that PCGG chairman have a rank of secretary? I mean, you report directly to the president, don't you?
Well, yes and no. Kumbaga, you're right that the PCGG chairman under Executive Order Number 1 has the rank and privileges of a cabinet secretary. But alam mo naman dyan, between cabinet secretary, undersecretary, maliliit.
Okay.
Tsaka it's really all titles
Okay.
and all. We coordinate closely with the Office of the President, with the Secretary of Justice, and with the Secretary of Finance and the Secretary of Budget in respect of sequestered and surrendered corporations.
Pero ang PCGG chairman reports directly to the president or no?
We report directly to many people.
Okay, all right. All of those agencies you mentioned.
That's right.
Okay.
Sorry, so just to finish. So sa 2012, out of the 96, we were able to remit back 567, not counting this 56.5. In 2013, last year, we will on a budget of 103 million, we've been able to remit 631 million. So kahit na ba paano, always, ang aming mantra is that we have to be able to give back more than what we spend. And ngayong 2014, our budget given was 106.
Tumataas, ha?
Oo, tumataas, pero tumataas din yun. And well, we were lucky because in January of 2014, we were finally able to win that case in Singapore involving monies of the former President Marcos that came from Swiss bank accounts that had been stuck in Singapore for, I'd say, at least 10 years. We were not able to repatriate them back because the U.S. lawyers of the human rights victims were able to get an order, they were able to force the bank in Singapore not to release it to us, in which case there was an interpleader case filed in Singapore. But finally we won, and so that $29 million was remitted back to the National Treasury last February 2014.
Pero ibabalik yan sa mga victims of human rights, di ba?
Hindi. Iba yan. Iba yan, no? Kasi diyan, okay, yung sa human rights victims, no, I think that the PCGG under the present administration are sympathetic to their cause. No? And we really believe that the victims of human rights should be compensated for what happened to them.
Okay.
Kaya lang, as a matter of principle, ang nangyari kasi is that they were able, through their U.S. lawyers, they were able to get a judgment in a U.S. federal district court in Hawaii of about $2 billion against the estate of former President Marcos.
Okay.
Okay? And ang aming point lang naman is simple, that the monies that are ill-gotten do not form part of the estate. Okay? Ill-gotten wealth, by definition, belongs to the Philippine government and to the Filipino people. So the proper procedure is that if it's ill-gotten monies, it should be brought back first to the National Treasury. Okay? But then, as I said, we supported the passage of the Human Rights Victims Reparation Act of 2013 that was signed into the law by President Aquino in February 2013. I know that there was already a board that was constituted. 10 billion pesos from PCGG recoveries has been allocated for that purpose.
Okay.
And I understand that they will begin giving out the monies sometime this year. So that's the proper procedure. Let the state compensate them. Don't, yung US lawyers ng human rights victims yan, kung ano man yung nakahanap ng PCGG, like itong painting, yung mga Monet painting na nahanap namin, parati kaming linalabanan. They're trying to get it because merong cut kasi din yung mga US lawyers.
Of course, of course.
So kami naman, sabi nga namin, we're not against the human rights victims, but the proper process lang is give it back to the government because it belongs to the Filipino people.
Okay. Now, let me just ask this question. You were mentioning 260 plus million, 500 plus, so more or less mga billion na ito. Pero earlier we were talking, wala namang kayong fina-file na bagong kaso during your term. In other words, you're just following up and nursing the cases that were filed in the past. So itong mga recoveries na ito is actually the work of your predecessors na nagbunga. Ganun ba?
Kahit mo ba, yeah,
Okay,
kasi
yeah.
kung isipin mo, Gerry,
Yeah.
karamihan ng mga kaso, na-file yan in the early, right after EDSA. So I
Yes.
would say that the first 3 years after, 87 to 90, yung bulk of the cases that have been filed. No? But yun na nga, parang people got stuck. And people were not able to recover these assets back. No? And so that has been a continuing challenge, both here and abroad. So really what we tried to do nga was to try to figure out ways by which we can expedite the recovery efforts. Now, yung sa bago, yan yung sa Monet, yan, that was new, no? Yung naging criminal conviction ni Miss Vilma Bautista, who was the former social secretary of First Lady Imelda Marcos in New York. No? So, in that respect, we cooperated with the New York District Attorney's Office. We provided evidence, and in fact, the first witness that was called during the criminal trial was PCGG. And
You?
actually, it was my colleague.
Okay.
Ang unang witness. No? But we have now initiated civil proceedings to recover the proceeds of that sale of the Monet. You know, it was a $32 million painting that was sold in 2010. So we're trying to recover the proceeds as well as other paintings that were found in the possession of Miss Bautista.
Oh, okay. What sets apart this, bakit parang nagko-compute tayo, hinihiwalay nyo itong 56 billion na San Miguel, what do you call it, preferred shares?
Right.
Why is it distinct from the bank deposits, the jewelry, the real estate? Bakit? Hiwalay ba talaga ito? I mean, ano ba situation ito?
Ako, again, if I may use private business terms, no? Kumbaga, ako kasi I want to differentiate operating income with extraordinary gain.
Okay.
Kumbaga ito parang it's a big windfall,
Okay.
which occurred in 2012. Sabi mo nga, Gerry, again, this was not something that was started by us. This is something that had begun way back. No? And, we were just fortunate that it was during our watch that the monies were actually recovered. So kami, kasi para ring fair, tinitignan ko, ano ba yung budget namin? Okay? Doon sa budget namin, ano ba yung aming naibabalik?
Okay.
So for example, in 2012, as I said, basta 96, yung aming budget, 96 million, nakabalik kami 567. Pero hindi kasama ron nga yung 56.5 billion because we look at that as an extraordinary gain, which is not recurring.
Okay. Pero, in fairness, if there was somebody else sitting in your position, they could have easily dissipated that too. Hindi ba? I mean, it's true, hindi ba? I mean, if the wrong person or the right person with the wrong values, hindi ba? Itong extraordinary gain na ito, baka naging hangin ito, baka naging yung 56 na yan, naging 5. Possible?
Well,
very possible.
Everything's possible.
Okay. Okay, we'll talk about the report card of PCGG under Chairman Andy Bautista when we return. Open House with Gerry Cornejo. We'll be back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Open House with Gerry Cornejo, and we are talking about the state of the PCGG. And of course, no one can talk about the PCGG with as much authority as its chairman, who has been chairman since 2010.
September 2010.
September 2010, PCGG chairman, Attorney Andy Bautista. So sir, we were talking earlier, since 1986, ang na-recover from the Marcoses, from their cronies and relatives, 167 billion. Okay. Ngayon, how much of this was recovered during your watch since 2010 September up to April 2014?
Right. Well, again, it's about, I think it's 71.2 billion.
Okay.
But as you pointed out, Gerry, again, I cannot really claim credit for all that, no, in the sense that many of the cases that started these recovery efforts occurred before before my time. No? But the actual recovery happened during our watch. So there is luck, in that regard. So,
Okay.
But then again, although that's, that's the fact that these recoveries occurred during the time of President Aquino.
Kumbaga sa mga laban ni Pacquiao, knockout eh.
May mga lucky punch din na nangyayari dyan.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. 2014 na ngayon, let us say your term will be coterminous with the President, which will be 2016. How much more do you think you will recover? Meron bang sure amount yan na ito sigurado, ito baka, ito suntok sa buwan to? Meron ba tayong ganon?
Meron.
Okay.
Oo.
So anong sure na minimum that will be recovered during your watch? Itong minimum to be expected with a 106 million peso budget. Mga magkanong mare-recover this year, next year, up to 2016 approximately?
Right. Ang mga sure siguro, Gerry, yung mga assets that are already within the possession of PCGG
Okay.
na pina-privatize. No?
right.
Pero again, here may mga challenges eh. Kasi merong certain assets, in fact, some of the big ticket assets na technically should be with PCGG, but they're being occupied by others. No?
Oo nga, hindi nyo rin ma-eject.
Hindi namin ma-eject, hindi namin makolektahan ng renta, and all that. No? So that continues to be a challenge. Now, there are still certain corporations na merong shares of stock. Yun, again, pwede na maibenta, pero hindi na ganun kalaki masyado yung value. So, yung mga pwedeng manalo, well, merong mga pending cases. No? At may mga fina-follow up kami. For example, itong ang tinatawag na Arelma case in New York. We're very gratified that just last month, there was a final Supreme Court decision of the Philippines, no, saying that itong Arelma asset belongs to the Republic. In which case now we will initiate a procedure in the U.S. to try and reclaim this asset pursuant to the U.S.-RP mutual legal treaty. No?
Bago ba ito? Is this a new case or is this something that you're reviving?
Matagal na ito eh. Matagal na ito. But ito yung aming hinahanap na kumbaga missing piece. Itong Philippine Supreme Court decision. No?
Okay.
This involves about 35 to 40 million US eh.
Okay.
So hopefully, again, ito, pag maibalik namin, again, it will be a significant recovery. No? And then,
So what amount are we talking about? Yung sigurado?
Sigurado. Yung sigurado, well, the way we operate things, may kita mo naman, ang aming target every year is mga 400 to 500 million a year.
Okay.
So for sure, 2014, 2015, 2016, sabi mo ng sigurado, yan, mga 1.5 billion.
Okay. Sigurado?
Sigurado yan, oo.
Mag-usap tayo, 2016. Now, what I'm sure, you know what you're talking about considering, hindi ba, I mean, yung track record nyo during the past years. You know what's pending. So you can say that, pesos to, by the way, 1.5 billion pesos. Ngayon, ano yung, what is the best scenario, the best possible scenario? Wag naman yung talagang imposible. Yung best scenario.
Kaya yung, okay, kunyari sa 1.5, but hopefully, we should do siguro, kung swertihin, baka maka 3.
Okay, double.
Double, 3 billion.
Okay.
Pero kung talagang swerteng-swerte, yung nga, for example, there is the 18.5 hectare Payanig sa Pasig property in Ortigas, which is worth north of 13, maybe 15 billion pesos.
Okay.
Pag yan na-privatize, ang laking sa gobyerno niya. But it's still mired in legal proceedings.
Okay. So, out of the 167 billion na na-recover ng PCGG from 1986, during your watch, 2010 up to now, ang na-recover nyo 71.2, which is almost one half of the total amount, 167. And right now, you're talking about a sure 1.5 billion and hopefully 3 billion, but then there's a possibility na maka-home run ito.
Maka-home run,
na umabot ng 15 or more.
More.
Okay. I was just wondering, Can all of this be achieved pag wala na ang PCGG o kailangan nandyan ang PCGG?
Again, Gerry, hindi naman kailangan PCGG per se. No? I think
okay.
ang importante is merong mga taong nakatutok sa trabaho ng PCGG. In 2011, the current PCGG, the current commission made the recommendation to wind down the affairs of PCGG and to transfer its functions to what I would call regular government agencies. Kasi we have to remember that when PCGG was created in 1986, it was supposed to be an ad hoc agency. Special lang naman to. It was not supposed to be there forever.
Ad hoc pa rin.
And that's why yung kanyang budget also is very minimal.
Okay,
Kaya ang aming thinking was that why don't we give it to the regular agencies like the Department of Justice and the Department of Finance, who have regular huge budgets and also personnel. Na kumbaga, who are there, who are are more specialized and skilled in respect of the work that we perform. No? So kami, for example, as I said, I'm coterminous with the president, and even if I can be fired anytime. No? So maybe what you would like to do is make sure nga that there is continuity, and you can do that by ensuring that there are people in government, yung mga civil service eligibles, who will be able to really focus on the job, considering that, I said, most of the cases are already filed. Yes, there are things that crop up from time to time, like you find a Monet painting here, maybe there is some ill-gotten wealth you will find, and things like that. But by and large, I think this is work that can be done by the regular agencies, and that's why we recommended that. No? But since we have not been told otherwise, we perform our work, and we continue with our work, and we with no let-up. And the other thing we wanted to emphasize was that when we recommended the winding down of PCGG, we did not in any way say that the work should be stopped. On the contrary, I think there's still work that can be done. It's just a question, is PCGG the right agency to do it, given that yung aming ad hoc character, plus the fact that yung mga batikos, as you know, ikaw mismo, Gerry, you were saying that in the past, ang daming sinasabing, kumbaga, yung mga, that the people who were guarding the chicken coop were actually the ones taking the chickens themselves.
Bantay sa lakay.
Exactly. At alam mo, that the way to stop that is really perhaps got to take out the ad hoc character of PCGG and to put its functions into the regular government agencies para there is greater focus as well and greater monitoring by the people.
Well, kaya the reason I brought that up, I mean, if kailangan pang PCGG rito, is precisely because you explained it right there, because that's why sometime last year, was it? I mean, you're front and center, media, front page, you're all over media. PCGG chairman says, hindi ba?
2011 pa yan, matagal.
Pero still, sinabi mo yan, abolish. Hindi ba?
Wind down.
Wind down. Hindi, pero ang word na ginamit ng media doon,
alam mo naman ng media, Gerry. But as I said, well, same principle. Ang sinasabi ko rin though is that when you wind it down, kasi pagka sinabi mong abolish, parang sinasabi mong putulin ka agad and then tapusin, which is not right. No?
Right.
It has to be a good transition. And as I said, the work though is not yet finished. It has to be given though to another agency. Ang tanong lang though is that is PCGG indispensable? And I think that the answer is no. I think other agencies can perform the task as well. All you need is really, people who are capable, who are competent, who will do their functions in a conscientious manner.
Okay. I was just curious, when this PCGG started in 1986, I suppose ang gobyerno noon, tsaka yung mga, the heads of the PCGG, had an amount in mind. This is how much we want to recover. Kumbaga, ito nga mandate, but the objective is to recover X amount. Meron bang ganon?
Well, yung aking nabasa in the biography of former chairman and former Senate President Jovito Salonga, ang estimate nila noong 86-87 was $5 to $10 billion.
Okay.
But to be honest, I was trying to look for evidence parang to support that estimate. And I haven't really found it. But if you're going to look at that number, we've recovered 167 billion. Sabi mo na, give or take in, mga 4 billion US. If the amount is 5, then that's 80%.
So parang you've hit the institution has hit the minimum.
80%. Oh, pero kung naman 10, that's only 40%. No? So, but kasi nga, at this point in time, after 28 years, it's, as you know, it's very difficult to look for this ill-gotten wealth after 28 years. No? And then the other thing, and I think you were also saying this earlier, na the people that we're running after are actually back in power. So it makes our job, our task, all the more difficult, because how can you, with a meager budget, plus the fact that your opponents are well-resourced, almost impossible.
So what you're saying, Mr. Chairman, kung lakihan ng budget nyo, mas malaki may-recover nyo?
You could say that, but also at some point din nga merong law of diminishing returns. Again, outside we were talking about, we still get a lot of leads. We still have a lot of people who go, who come to us with supposed information. But alam mo, to be able to follow up on this information entails you engaging investigators, accountants, yung mga nag-a-analyze, lawyers and all that stuff, which entails money. And sometimes it's a wild goose chase. Minsan naman, wala naman talagang mahahanap. No?
Okay.
One of the accusations against my predecessors was that they were going around the world looking for these things with nothing to show. No? And again, I think we've been very sensitive to that. And that's why kami, pag nagbiyahe, gusto ko more or less planchado na yan, no? Kapag ginagawa namin. So, mahirap Mahirap in that respect. But as I said, in the end, it's, you have to balance and you have to weigh the pros and the cons to make sure that as much as possible, when you do certain actions, it's a cost-effective way of trying to fulfill your mandate.
Ano lang natin to, let's wind up this way. We were talking earlier, and for what it's worth, just figure this out. Ang mga Marcoses pala, from 1965 to 1986, yung legitimate income because of their income tax returns, tsaka yung mga saliin nila, dapat $304,000. From 1965 to 1986, $306,000.
Right.
Eh, mga isang sing-sing lang ni Imelda sa little finger niya, lampas-lampasan na ron eh. So just think about it. Where did all this money come from? Where did all this money come from? They bought how many buildings in New York?
4. And
Four
again,
buildings. Prime to, ha?
Prime building.
We're talking about New York.
Saka hindi condo, ha? Building.
Building, hindi condo, hindi unit, hindi apartment. You know? Eh, sa New York lang yon. You know, so where did all of this money that they used for shopping come from? Yun na lang mga painting na pagbili ng 32 million.
Isa lang yun, ha?
Isa lang yun.
We still have 150 paintings missing.
Missing. Okay. And alam mo naman, at that time, we're talking about 100 plus paintings that are in the category of masterpieces. Hindi naman bumibili na mapepetsugin painting yan. Ano? I mean, we're talking about paintings that are in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, at least.
At that time.
At that time.
At that time. Pero ngayon na, millions na. And then, sama po pa din yung jewelry.
Okay. Yung jewelry lang, magkano? Yung nasa Central Bank?
Okay, well, ang estimate, in 1991, by Christie's, is anywhere from 6 to 8 million US.
Okay.
In 1991.
Yun lang nahanap, yun lang nakita.
Well, yun ang nasa Central Bank ngayon.
Okay,
no?
alright.
And we were told, but easily, double, easily. But I'm sure it's more than that. Because we were also told that the jewelry collection rivals that of the famous people like Elizabeth Taylor.
Of course. Even the Queen of England siguro. Di ba? Okay, so anyway, figure it out. $306,000. Just a little ring or just a little brooch na suot ng former First Lady. Na ngayon ay Congresswoman, yung isang anak, gobernadora, at yung isang anak, senador. Just think about it. I mean, I'm not pointing any fingers or saying anything wrong. Just think about it. You know, saan ang galing yung perang yon? At kinino yung perang yon? Now, sir, the Filipino people are here. PCGG chairman, you get to address them. We have 1 minute po.
Well, again, Gerry, thank you for the opportunity again to speak to you and to let the Filipino people know about what we're doing at PCGG. As I said, You know, one thing I've learned in government service also is that you can always, curse the darkness. You can always say that, you know, why is our budget so low? How come our people are not equipped with the right skills or, you know, the right know-how within which to do their job? Why are there so many obstacles? Why is it that media can be so prying and can be so unfair? But one thing I've also realized is that instead of cursing the darkness, we can all light candles.
Very
So
good.
we try to, you know, do our work in a positive way, and that given what we have, you know, PCGG was not something that we created, that when we came in, there were already certain things about it. But one thing that we try to do is that after we are finished with our stints at PCGG, we can say that we left it a better place and that we tried to promote the common good. And really, I think that's, you know, I speak for the Commission when I say that we'd like to leave a good legacy so
Okay.
far as PCGG is concerned.
Okay, with that, we end our program and our feature on the state of the PCGG. And thank you very much to our guest, the chairman of the PCGG, si Attorney Andy Bautista. Sir, maraming salamat po. Okay, so Open House with Gerry Cornejo. We'll be back next week. And meanwhile, take care. I love you and God bless you.